It's the Hoops Talk.
Say what?
How do we do it? How do we do it? We're up in here. I know. I've already had a jug.
Oh shit, my coffee's all the way over there.
Oh no.
In betweens.
Oh man, today's going to be great though. We have a great guest on today. She's literally the future of sports. So I'm so glad we're having her on because, you know, I often doubt, are the children our future? I know Whitney sang it.
Teach them well.
They are. TikTok, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the TikTok Gen Z
the children are the future.
Good. I'm glad that my mind's being changed. Because sometimes I'm like, I wonder.
Is your mind telling you no, but your body's saying yes?
Oh my gosh.
Because I believe in consent. But no, I am really excited for the guest that we have on. I really think she's the future of sports, and I'm so excited to have her on next. And today, I mean, we record on the weekend, and you know, it goes out on Wednesdays, but today's a big day for the WNBA where, you know, we're seeing a lot of teams that could be, you know, in the playoff standings playing one another today, including our LA Sparks. They're up in there. And also it's the play-in game. So the NBA play-in game. And if you watch our YouTube, you can see Kendall's background. It's got Damian Lillard on it. I'm going to say I would love to see a Los Angeles Laker first round.
Well, you know, if the Blazers play like they did against the Nets, that may not happen.
Wow. I felt ill during that game.
I was so sweaty. It was like I just ran a marathon and I was just sitting on the couch. Well, actually, I was like jumping on the couch. My grandpa was like, I'm going to take my hearing aids out so I don't have to listen to that. It was bad. It was bad.
Well, I guess what's cool about this is you're getting like the full effect of being a new Blazer fan. Like they aren't like slowly bringing you into the fold. They're like, first up, like we're going to lead in the, what did our friend Marcy say? She's like, yeah, we get a good lead in the first. We keep it big in the second. We lose it in the third. And then we're scrappy cats in the fourth.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I don't know what it is about me, but every team I pick, it's like a heart attack. I'm just taking years off my life because of sports. I don't know why I can't just pick a team that's like, we're going to lead from the beginning to the end and not give you a heart attack.
You're dealing with men, babe. I mean, period.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
but she loves the challenge.
She does.
You know?
Yeah.
You got to like equal work in the relationship.
Yeah. Who needs to live till 40? Not me.
You just want to see how loyal you are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a test. Like, do you still love me? I mean, look at Knicks fans. I live with one. We're talking find yourself a Knicks fan to marry.
That's unconditional
loyalty for life.
Oh my God.
Good, bad, ugly, loyalty for life. That's my endorsement for all. Get yourself a Knicks fan.
Single ladies.
I'm gonna change my
single ladies,
Tinder.
single men. Yeah,
looking for Knicks fans.
There you go. Put that in. Put that in the profile because that's
Swipe
some
if
loyalty.
you like the Knicks.
That's a loyalty play right there. You're gonna get yourself a good, loyal, loving person. Good, bad, and the ugly. With that, I think we're ready for some house cleaning and updates. So, please subscribe, like, and review us on Spodcast. Okay, it's not Apple Podcast, but maybe there should be. Hey, a new business on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. We're there. We're also on all RSS feeds, Google Play, Pandora, wherever you listen to your podcast. And of course, we're on our YouTube channel, The Hoops Talk YouTube. You can see our lovely faces, the faces of our guests and our backgrounds and, what have you. We have plants in the studio audience behind me here, so you get to see them. We're also on TikTok until that gets banned at the Hoops Talk Podcast. And of course, we're on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoops Talking, and you can, follow along, converse with us, tweet out, what have you. Another update is that the Good News Radio app, where we're part of that network, they are going to they're going to push out a new version of the app that you're currently using, if that's what you use to listen to us. And it is going to be a paid app. So, you're going to have to pay a subscription. So if you have it now, I believe you get a discount, you get rolled into it. If you're thinking about getting it, you might want to try to download it now before, it goes to its full price. I'm not sure all of the details, but if you go to the Good News Radio podcast Instagram, we tag them all the time, and I'm sure they have some more details. But that's really exciting, getting a new app. So, if you like listening to us there, you're going to love it even more. So with that, I think we're ready to bring on our guests, and we'll be right back. Hi, Pepper. Welcome to the Hoops Talk.
Hi, Pepper.
Hi.
So good. It's so good to have you today. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and be on our podcast. We're delighted to have you as a guest. And we have been admiring so much of your work, and you are an inspiration to all of us creative women who are trying to make content here with sports. So we're happy to have you on, right? Definitely happy to have you on to discuss your journey, how you're working it out with the content creation, as well as, things that inspire you. So before we get into the interview, I would like to kind of say a little bit about you. And like I said, I always find everything on the internet. So if it's wrong, feel free to correct me. So Pepper, you are the creator and host of Dish with Pepper, which is an interview style podcast, as well as an Instagram show of the same name, both with a focus about bringing awareness and happiness by sharing important voices, especially when it comes to highlighting players in the WNBA, which you one day hope to join the WNBA as a player yourself. You've also excellent. You've also been a part of the media that's been broadcasting from the WNBA bubble, interviewing players via Zoom. And more recently, you've become a contributing reporter to The Next, which is a women's basketball newsroom, creating content for She's Got Next, and also another newsroom, Nets Republic. And some of your guests for Dish with Pepper have included broadcaster Megan McPeak, Basketball Hall of Famer Katie Smith, Bleacher Report and highlighters Ari Chambers, also a friend of the podcast. We love
Ari Chambers.
Ari Chambers. And WNBA players like Skylar Diggins-Smith, Aja Wilson, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Natasha Cloud, Liz Cambage, and the list goes on and on and on.
Great list.
So, and you just turned 9 in March of this year. So you got that going for you as well.
Got another Pisces in this room?
I think you're Pisces. What day is your birthday?
March 24th. So I'm actually an Aries.
Oh, yes. We got 2 Pisces here.
Yeah, Pisces.
And so with that, as already, your career portfolio.
Thank you for that introduction, first of all.
Absolutely. Thank you for having all of that to talk about. Very impressive. I'm going to come out and just ask, what does a day in the life of Pepper look like?
Wow. I actually have never thought about that really, but I feel like I've asked WNBA players a day in their life, but I've never been asked a day in my life. Wow. So I usually wake up and I have breakfast and I check my email to see if there are any press conferences or press releases I need to read or check out. Then usually I will do my press conferences usually in the morning. I'll work on questions if I have an interview. And throughout the day, I practice violin. We rented a house in Connecticut, so I have a basketball hoop in the front yard, so I get to play with my parents and my family mostly every day, which is really awesome. And just doing media work for most of the day, and then just practicing violin, which I love, and basketball and sports. And then pretty much every day now watching WNBA games, which is awesome too. So that's a day in the life of Pepper.
Great
wow. Wow. That's a great balance. Have you had to find this balance as you're growing more of your content creation, or how do your parents kind of help to stabilize some of these things to help you with your growth in your career?
Well, that's a really good question. I feel like I just love this work, so if I end up doing it all day, I really would be okay with that because I love this. I love coming up with questions. I love going to press conferences, but it is something that my parents stress the importance of having a balanced day, especially in the summer when it's kind of like my break. But yeah, I mean, I still practice certain things like basketball and violin every day, which helps bring that balance. But I also try to read in the morning every day. So just trying to meditate and do workouts, things that can help me kind of concentrate and be focused on the work that I'm going to do with the work that I did.
That's awesome. We always say self-care is very important.
Yes, so important.
It's so important. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your first interview? Because I know that I believe it was in 2018, so it's a couple years ago, that you decided that you wanted to highlight the WNBA, and you were also starting to interview coaches and players. So if you can remember, do you remember who that first interview was, and what was that moment like?
So my first interview was actually in 2017, I believe, when I was 6. I did my first interview with Sugar Rogers, who one of the many players who have supported me, WNBA players have supported me, but that was just my first interview. One thing I remember from that day, I was like, I was going to a New York Liberty practice, because at that point she was on the Liberty, and I was like, I wanted to wear a dress because I wanted to be fancy because it was my first interview, but I was like, what if she asked me to play? I think I want to put sneakers on. So I was rocking this dress with basketball sneakers, and I remember I had my notepad with all my questions, and it was just really an awesome experience. And I think when I look back, like, that was really the first time I did an interview, and it's like, wow, I've been doing this for that long, and I mean, I just am so, I just even can't even believe that I've been doing it for this long.
That's so great. What
that
a
was
great memory.
Yeah.
That's an awesome memory. And I like how you also talk about, hey, what if she asked me to play?
Yeah. Plan A, plan B.
And it actually did happen. So it worked
out. Okay. There you go. We're ready.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good tip. Always be ready.
Yep.
Like you're prepared.
If you're prepared and the chance is given to you, that you're ready to take it. I love it. I love to see it. So, we talked about a lot of the different people that you have had a chance to interview. Can you tell us, has there been any standout moments or anything in an interview that you remember and that you like to share?
Well, I'll always remember my interview. Actually, the day that I found out that I was going to have the chance to interview Diana Taurasi, I was starstruck for about an hour. And I'm not kidding. I was like, seriously. And I was like, really? But when I had the chance, I asked her one question that I constantly ask WNBA players is advice, because, of course, that's my goal, to be in the WNBA. And so she told me to just, one drill I can do in my own, wherever I am, is to just take a ball or even without a ball and just practice my form over and over again, which is something she actually did as a child. And that's something I remember. And I know when I'm practicing my basketball, and even in quarantine when I was stuck in my apartment for most of the quarantine, I didn't have much to do, my dad's like, remember what Diana Taurasi said? And like, I was practicing my form before I go to bed. So that's a moment that I definitely remember.
Oh, that is so
That's a good tip.
Key.
That's
that
great.
Is a very good tip.
I'm going to do that later.
That is so key. How like I totally agree with what you're saying about feeling starstruck, because when we reached out to you to see if you would come on, and we kind of hold our breath a little bit, hoping like, oh, maybe, you could say no, but if you say yes, like it just gives you this whole like magical experience of thinking, oh, somebody wants to be on our show, and and then you get into doing research and like finding out more and getting questions that, for your audience would be, and for our audience, we think would be something educational for them. So now that
I definitely feel that. And I've had
good.
Reaching out to WNBA teams. I hope they respond. I hope I can be able to do their press conferences. I hope I can interview their players. So I definitely feel that.
Yeah. And have you, as you've grown, your craft, have you been, are there different things that you're doing to craft your interviews, or, what you want to ask? Do you have a different method now than when you were first starting with your interview process?
Yeah, well, definitely now I would say I do more research, because when I did my first interview, I was 7'6", and I don't think I was as good a researcher as I am now. But yeah, I'll go to ESPN, or I'll go to whatever it is to try to research this person, and whether it's that they're really active in social activism, or they were undrafted, or they have kids, or whatever it is. Like, I try to base my questions off of the research I've done, or if I know this person. Like, most of the people I've interviewed for Dish with Pepper, like Ari, like Megan, I know them pretty well. I've had experiences with them. I've talked to them before. So I'm able to know a little bit and have to do less research. But with like the episodes of my podcast for the Next, as you mentioned, She Got Next, I had to do research on Jasmine Thomas. I had to do research on Diamond DeShields. So it's definitely the research that I feel like is much more part of my creating my interviews and questions now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And have you found anything like really, really interesting that, as in your research, where you're like, oh, I need to ask them about this? Or is it usually like around what you think that they would be interested in?
Well, I remember, this is pretty recently. So I was trying to find something about Jasmine Thomas, and I found out that she was like really a big part of, she really wanted to be known as more than an athlete, because she loved to travel and she loved to cook. And I looked at her website and her cookies look good. So, but yeah, I mean, just trying to understand their personality, and whether it's because I was at a media availability with that person before and they were doing a social justice blackout, only talking about that. And so whatever it was, if they were having they had a career high, or in points or assists or whatever it was, like I tried to, if they seem passionate about that, like Jasmine Thomas was clearly passionate about being more than an athlete, I wanted to discuss that. I wanted to try to get her perspective on that out there. And even when I'm talking to somebody like Natasha Cloud, who has been interviewed, very happy about this, several times in the past month or so, right? I wanted to try to ask different questions and try to get her perspective in different ways. But stuff like that.
That's great. And, you mentioned Natasha Cloud, and I've seen some interviews with you talking about Natasha, and I did see the IG live that you did with Natasha. And I'm wondering if you could share a little bit with us of why she is your favorite player and a mentor to you. It's like, what about her is inspirational to you?
Well, first of all, starting off, that she is biracial, like me, which starting off is something that was a connection. And then the fact that I met her when I was, I think, 4 or 3 in her rookie season, at the Mystics were playing the Liberty, and she remembered me in 2018. Like, that just shows something about her. And when I was bullied, I reached out to her, and she sent me this, like, 5-minute long video of advice and trying to help me. And just that support, like, I feel like my way of trying to support her back is by interviewing her and trying to get her message out with the platform that I have at this point. So, yeah, but having somebody like that as a mentor, I feel very lucky, because most people don't have that opportunity to even talk to a WNBA player, let alone talk to them a lot and get their advice a lot and be able to interview them, right? So I feel very lucky to have a person like her in my life, and people like Ari and Megan in my life. But yeah, Tasha's definitely a mentor for me and my favorite player right now. But I love the WNBA period, though.
Of course. I like how you make the balance. You brought up a little bit about the bullying that you experience, and I know in your personal journey, and I read a profile about this on Swish Appeal about you, and there, what I saw was that you were saying there were a couple of kids who you thought were your friends who wrote a letter saying you were too athletic. And so you decided to start an anti-bullying project at your school and reached out to WNBA players to look for advice for yourself and for other kids affected by bullying. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, so I remember this because I was actually, I think, going to a basketball practice, and I told my dad, "Hey, I want to do something that will make sure other kids don't feel the way I felt when I was bullied." And then that's kind of where the starting point for my anti-bullying video that I called "Not Too Athletic." But I talked to WNBA players and from the Mystics and the Liberty, and I actually talked to Natasha Cloud, and I asked them about their stories and to get their perspective on if they were bullied. And I know Tina Charles was bullied because she was too tall or had big feet that were too big, and Tasha Cloud was, I guess, another version of too athletic and was scrappy. And she said that one thing I remember from talking to her was that she said that she felt like she was never in a different group. She never had a group of friends. She was always kind of floating around in her own little Tasha group. And that really spoke to me because I have friends from so many different backgrounds, from school, from soccer, from basketball, from from preschool, from wherever it is. I have so many different friends, and I feel like they're all part of my Camilla or my Pepper group. But yeah, but I mean, that experience as a whole was so amazing.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I love it. I know we say we found our tribe. When we created this podcast, we did similar because we decided there wasn't representation that we could look to, so we decided to create the lane for this content, and now we have a tribe.
I feel like I've grown up that lane, definitely.
Definitely. Oh, absolutely. It's so great. It's so inspiring. And speaking of creating your own lane, as a leader, how do you manage the responsibility that comes with being a leader? And what would you like to pass on or teach to other kids your age and your peers?
Well, first of all, that's a really good question, and thank you for asking that. And I would just say that the reason I do this work is because, first of all, there aren't enough women doing this work. This is why I love this podcast, and I love Ari and Megan and everything that those people are doing, and specifically women of color in the media and women in the media doing stuff for the WNBA women's basketball. I love that, but I feel like there aren't many children that kids can look up to see in different places, and so I wanted to be someone for kids to look up to. And of course, there are so many awesome adults doing this work, but I feel like there aren't that many kids to look up to in this role and in this that have this platform in the media. So that's really always my driving force. But I also hope that I can inspire kids to follow their dreams, and because if I did, and to find people that they're inspired by, because I wouldn't have been able to do this if it wasn't for Ari, if it wasn't for Megan, if it wasn't even for seeing people like you on Instagram. And I feel like that's why I feel very lucky to have this big circle that is always supporting me. People like Tasha and people in my family, my friends, who are always there for me, always supporting me. And so I wanted to encourage kids to find your circle and find people who support you, but also follow your dreams.
Oh, such a good advice. Yes. Find your circle and follow your dreams. Oh, yeah. You are giving me so much hope this morning.
I have a follow-up question, Pepper. You know, I think as women, as girls, we often have a lot of barriers that we need to also overcome. But as a child in media, do you also encounter people who don't want to take you seriously? And how do you sort of help, how do you kind of cope through that? Or what are things that you do?
Yeah, well, there's definitely been that because I'm a 9-year-old girl, and so of course I knew that would happen. But one thing that I do is, again, I feel so lucky to have so many supporters that I try to focus on the people who are supporting me, who are following me, who are giving me texts and comments of encouragement on my posts, or emailing me and saying, I really love your work. And whatever it is, I try to focus on the positive, because of course there's always negative. And especially as a Black woman, especially as a Black girl, there's always going to be that negativity, that, you're here kind of thing. And I really try to focus on the positive, and having so many supporters, having so many people, having people who want to have me on their podcast and on their show.
That's
great.
That's great. That's so great. I just, again, such a good and hopeful conversation. I mean, you really are inspiring. You have to know how inspiring you are. It's really great to have you in this space. Before we wrap, I do have some WNBA questions that I think you as an expert would be able to help us out here. So what are you liking about the WNBA season in this bubble? Are there things you're seeing that you're like, hey, this team looks good, or, maybe they should do this better? Or what are you seeing about the bubble, the wubble, as we like to affectionately call it, the wubble this season?
Yeah. Well, starting off with the social justice initiatives and the activism that they are showing, having Black Lives Matter in their courts and Breonna Taylor on their jerseys, and each game, each weekend, I believe, saying one woman's name, whether it be Breonna Taylor or Sandra Bland, and I feel inspired by that, number one. And number two, to take a little bit of a turn to basketball, I'm sticking with my predictions right now that Breonna Stewart is going to be MVP, because she is looking so great right now. Right. And I think Seattle as a whole is playing really well. So I'm sticking with my predictions there for them to be champion again. But because, I feel like they have the rest of their team, other than Sue Bird and Breonna Stewart, got better last season, having them not there. And so now they're just better as a whole. But also, taking a turn to look at the aces. Like, they don't have Liz Cambasia, Persley Plum this season, and Asia Wilson is stepping up. Her team is in second place right now without two of their starters. Like, really impressive stuff there. And then looking at my notes for this, to talk a little bit about my experience talking to them about their experience in the Wubble. I specifically talked to the New York Liberty about this, and Kia Nurse was saying, I asked her what her favorite activity, of course, other than basketball was, and she said that it used to be riding her bike, but now it's really hot there. And she mentioned that she did a puzzle, and to talk a little bit about the New York Liberty roommates, there is Amanda Zalaby, Kia Stokes, and Kia Nurse, which sounds like a really fun room to be in. And then there is Jasmine Jones, Joyner Holmes, and Megan Walker. Apparently Megan Walker likes to sleep in a little bit. That Jasmine Jones added that. But yeah, just getting their perspective on their experience in the Wubble. I'm kind of sad with all the injuries going around right now. It really stinks having the season so fast. Like, they might Sabrina Ionescu, like, everybody was looking forward to seeing her play. And, like, what do we have? Only four games of her getting to watch her play?
Yeah, really I know.
And Kennedy Carter, too. And even, like, a veteran like Ariel Powers, who was getting her chance to step up with the Mystics missing 4 of their starters. Wow. Yeah, but she got hurt, and there's so many. The injury really stinks, especially this season, because it's coming really fast, and they're not having much of a chance to recover. But also Diana Taurasi out, like, we don't know how much more we got.
I know.
The injuries are really stinking right now.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true.
So I have a question for you. So speaking of the ultimate roommate situation, if you were in the Wubble, who would be your 3 ultimate roommates that you'd want to be staying with?
Oh, there are so many good ones.
I know.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know who I want to say. Like, I feel like I want to be in a room where we're always having fun. But also a room that will be able to talk about basketball, which I feel like will be every room in this league. But even, I don't know. There's so many, like, there's like 144, not even this season, but like over 100 players to choose from. Like, ooh.
I know.
Pepper, if it's too much on the spot.
I know.
You might have to follow up on an IG live or something with us.
Yeah. Yes, I will, definitely. There's so many good choices.
I know.
It's all right.
We won't put you. We'll take you.
I wouldn't be able to answer that right away either.
I know. Neither would I. I mean, I feel like mine would have mostly Sparks in it because that's our team. But other than that,
I feel like Sue Bird. I'd want to see that sneaker collection she's got.
Oh yeah, that's
borrow it.
Yeah, borrow it for sure.
Right?
Totally. And I think when you get Sue, you get Megan, so it's a little bit of a combo, roommate. Lots of scenarios to think about.
There's also like Megan Walker who sleeps in. That'll give me my reading time in the morning.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many people I want to be in a room with. Can I be in the biggest hotel room that I can have all of them?
Yes, you'll be presidential suite.
Yeah.
top of the marquee presidential suite for sure, and have them all. I like that. Have them all. I mean, why not?
Yeah, right.
It's your dream room.
Be a great slumber party.
Yeah,
for sure. Rotating. Maybe we do rotating. We need a Pepper in the Bubble rotating.
There you go. She's the rotating.
I love it. We love it.
And I have one more question. As a mom, you guys can see Olivia on the
Hi, Olivia.
Olivia plays soccer, and with COVID happening, school's not happening. sports, recreational sports? How are you kind of, in addition, of course, Pepper, you've got your podcast, but what else are you doing to kind of just, get through the day and not feel like Groundhog's Day, and especially when you miss your friends? What are some things that are helping you kind of cope with it?
Well, one thing that has been helping me is just connecting with my friends, even if it's virtually. I know I was watching I was watching a show with one of my friends, and then I've been socially distancing. I have a friend who's also here in Connecticut that I've been able to connect with. And one other thing I do is I read a lot. That takes my mind off of what's happening. But also just like, I know I play soccer as well. I play basketball and soccer. And specifically with soccer, I know that depending on your space, I know, but in my apartment, I was dribbling around. I might not be able to juggle or to try to score a goal, but just practicing on what I can, dribbling in my apartment, soccer and basketball. But just trying to stay positive. And I started meditating and doing more yoga now that I've been doing this. And actually, since I've been doing this work, I haven't been doing enough meditation. So I'm going to get on myself for that. But just trying to stay positive.
That's a good attitude. Good attitude and a good action plan, I think, for all of us, not just the kids. I could use some meditating.
I could too.
Well, Pepper, I mean, it has been a true joy and honor to have you on our podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. We love having you. You are invited anytime. So come
always
on
welcome.
Anytime, always welcome. But before we let you go, why don't you let our audience know where they can reach you or watch your content or anything that you would like to promote so that they can find you?
Yeah. So on Instagram, I am at Dish with Pepper. And then I also, as Liz mentioned, I also do a podcast for the Next that you can definitely check out. I released my first article on netsrepublic.com, so you can check that out. But yeah, most of my stuff is posted on my Instagram. So when I ask questions of players at press conferences, that's on my Instagram. So you can find me there. Also, I work with the platforms, The Next, of course, and netsrepublic.com. But yeah, so that's where you can find me. Thank you for letting me share that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, a million thank yous. We are so...
A million thank yous to you too.
It was great fun. We are going to be reading what you write, watching what you do. And as you know, you're always welcome on the Hoops Talk. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. And we're back.
Woo!
What an amazing interview.
I mean, we have no excuse, right? Kid's 9. What am I complaining about here?
I was trying to think back at what I was doing when I was 7 and 9 when her career started. And I'm like, I was learning cursive, multiplication tables. I don't even know.
On my quad skates around the neighborhood. I don't know.
Yeah, I was probably
trying not to beat up my ankle bones.
Going to the liquor store to get candy.
Yeah, it was a lot of heists going on when I was a kid. Plus, there was like a billion of us like running around. My grandmother used to take care of the broods. Yeah, and you know what? Shout out to her parents.
Yeah.
Big shout out to the parents. Because they are putting in the work and doing that time and investment that's needed.
And if audiences, if you check out Pepper's like Instagram, like what's awesome about them is they stay behind the scenes. Like they totally just elevate her. You can't really, and you see a lot of parents where stage moms and they try to be all up in it. Kris Jenner,
momagers.
Really, momagers.
I mean, that might be me, so I'm projecting.
You know what? I feel that could be you, Karen. You're going to be like a dance mom.
Oh
no,
totally. But just don't let me get that big. Let me keep it.
Right. Keep the figure, the dance figure.
Yeah.
Well, it was
great.
She's great.
Great kid. They're raising a great kid.
Oh my God. Like how proud. Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad she took that. Like she was saying, you know, she wants to be able to show kids to follow your dreams, and there are no other kids in the space. And, you know, and shout out to all the women in sports that have, you know, really supported her and brought her into the forefront and encouraged. You know, that was one thing that, you know, is so valuable that people don't understand, is like that support, that group, that tribe, that club, you know, that are, you want to have those people around you to support you. And especially at a young age, you know, that's when things are, you know, starting to really like get together in your brain and your confidence as well. You know, I know the study of, you know, girls leaving sports at 14 is a big statistic that a lot of organizations are trying to change. And it's great to hear that, you know, it's not just like everybody can be involved. And can do that. So it's really great.
I heard a story about her friends writing that letter. I mean, it's crazy how I'd love for society to teach more kids to be like Pepper and really just go for what they want and be uniquely them. But I notice now more that society more pushes our other kids to be sort of like bullies and to judge and to gang up on people like that. And it's just, you know, I remember being around her age and getting to school early, and in middle school, girls were putting on makeup, and I was in the like courts playing basketball with the boys. And it was always weird to try to even connect with some friends because of that difference. But I just love that, you know, she took that and changed it. And that's a great lesson for not just any kid around sports or dreams of sports, but just all of us. Just to turn something that's sad and hurtful into something great. And like, good for those kids. They fueled her into where she is today. So
right.
Best trolling ever.
Right.
For real though.
I know. I mean, and not only did she do something for herself, but she created a platform to help other people that might be in that situation. And also sharing voices of women that we look at already thinking, oh, look at these athlete superstars that have similar stories about being bullied. And it's great. It's so great. I am such a fan, and I hope y'all check out her links, visit her Instagram, listen to her podcast. I've listened to all episodes. She's great. It's really great to have that in our industry. Let's have more.
I love it.
Let's do it. And as we're moving on, we're going to continue to talk about rising stars in sports. We want to talk about the WNBA rookies. We did talk a little bit about this with Pepper, but the injuries are no bueno.
I mean, we talked about last episode, right? Like that generation, those rookies have been playing probably hard since the get.
I know.
School, all of it. And then they get
to
the big time.
So Sabrina is out indefinitely. So
hers looked rough. Hers like sent chills down my spine.
Watching it over and over again.
I could barely watch it the one time, and I'm like, please stop showing this.
Just thinking about it makes
why do sports love to do that? Like repeated injury over and over again. Like there's not like other things to watch.
It's gross.
They're like, here it is in slow-mo. Here it is in slow-mo of slow-mo.
Let's analyze where the break happens.
Yeah, let's get a close-up of her face when it happens. Just like, oh God, stop. You have Kennedy Carter, who's out with an ankle injury as well. She's out 1 to 2 weeks. Oh my God. I mean, rookie of the year right there. And I don't know, like, what is she going to do? Like, what does that do for the rest of the season for her? You know, I don't know how much she's going to have to rehab. And then coming back into the bubble, you have to have so many days of quarantine. It's just, wow. I mean, 1 to 2 weeks could be 1 to 2 months. It's insane. And then you have Satal Sabali, who got a back injury on August 14th, and she's going to return next week. I think she's TBD, but a lot of this stuff is just, it's not good to see. I mean, and there are like other players, veterans or people who've been there that are also sustaining injuries. Sylvia Fowles, I think, is out. And I know Pepper mentioned a few other players, but his injuries for such a like shorter season and in the being in such like a quarantine space in a bubble or the wobble, it just like adds so much pressure to when you do get it, sustain an injury, and you hate to see it. The good thing is though that they're not having to travel, so maybe that adds a little more rest time for them, which is good. Which is good. But yes, so these rookies, they are definitely have shown up in the wobble, and we just hope these injuries can. And I remember, Karen, we talked about it like a few seasons ago with the NBA when there was that one season where everyone's shoe was flying off.
Oh yeah, like
shoes just kept flying off.
And Zion still does that. He's known to just
Zion's shoe just blew off, but
his falls off the bottom.
Yeah, his exploded. Like his foot exploded off, right? Like a rocket ship. When you see the thrusters blowing off of it, right?
I know.
But like we were seeing players that were
Shoegate.
But yeah, we called it shoegate because they would just be like running and then a shoe off, and it's like, oh, so and so.
Sometimes I feel like they would like the shoes are like a fashion thing. Like,
was
there like
I'm
not
going
to tie my shoes as tight because I need my laces to look a certain way. Like,
girl, you know that's why it was.
Yeah, I know.
Because these, I'm like, it's not fashion. Okay, wear the fashion in the tunnel and do what you want. But
bring your second pair of sneaks.
Yeah,
for the actual game. You see it all the time.
Yeah, they're gonna have those like I'd have like gladiator basketball shoes on,
like laced up to your knee.
Come on now, bring out those Velcro Asics. And just keep them on.
I'm gonna make the quick marketing pitch for LeBron shoes because it's that Nike adaptive and it's a Velcro that goes it zips all the way around and it's so secure. Like I play with it. Yeah. I have weak Steph Curry ankles and there's a lot of cute ways. So come on guys.
There you go.
You gotta
Velcro.
Can you believe that guys used to play in Chucks back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Ouch. I can't believe it.
Ouch.
I didn't even work retail in Chucks.
Yeah. I can't even just walk in them. They chew up your feet. They flatten your whole foot.
Like a brick.
Support. Yeah.
And I mean, Jordans are known to be uncomfortable. And the fact that Jordan actually wore them.
Well, also, if you get a shoe, like when you wear like street shoes, as they call them in the Nike app, your streetwear, they have zero ventilation. So you're in a hot day in LA thinking you look cute and your feet are sausages.
Stanky little feet.
I'm telling you, I throw some flip-flops in for when I'm going to drive, because I'm like, I can't wear these Jordans a whole damn Venice pier. Feet would turn into flames. You're just like, when you take off one of those shoes, it's crazy. Continue on with the WNBA rising in the standings. I want to point out the LA Sparks because that's our team. And they are at the number 3 right now in the standings. So they went from like 6 to 5 to 3. So they jumped a few spots. I've been watching all their games. They have definitely gelled. I mean, they've got Candace Parker is literally another level. I have seen her. She is next level.
I love her.
I think not having to travel has done wonders for her. I think having her daughter
with her. Oh yeah.
Oh, I saw that she posted them fishing and they caught a giant fish. It was great, So I really think that this wobble situation for Candace has really just given her like a place of health, where she's been able to like really regroup. And she's also talking on NBA on TNT. She's an analyst for them, so she's doing it all.
Yep,
she's doing it all.
And I think too, Liz, I think we were talking about. I think like her daughter, they technically live up here, Northern California. So she was doing a lot of commuting, playing for the Sparks. I actually got to see her on the plane, like LAX. That was so exciting. But it's, like you said, I think the fact that she gets to just stay, have her kid, and she's like, wait, I could do more. And like, she's shining right now in the bubble for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm like MVP of the bubble, in my opinion, right there. I also read this, the next article, which is something that Pepper writes for She's Got Next. They had a story, the Sparks' depth starting to show in consecutive wins, which I did read. And they started talking about the emergence of some of their younger players or newer players to the team, Taya Cooper, Rashonda Gray, and Kristen Agnew. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong. Which is, that's really important, I think, for the Sparks, since Chanae and Christy are not in the bubble with them. And, they lost a couple of veterans, and Chanae, who she was already finding her groove last season, playing with their sister and being on a new team. So I think they took two big hits there, and then they had to find the chemistry, in the bubble with this new team. And I think their consistency is shining through, and they're really going to have a deep bench if they're going to go up against someone like the Seattle Storm.
Right.
I mean, what?
What a deep.
Oh my. Like,
Pepper was right.
She's right.
Because Sue and Brianna were out. That everybody else had to step up, and now there's everybody's
deep
good.
bench. Yep.
I'm telling you, they have the story that I think will happen to the Warriors.
Liz, you're just thinking in my mind. But I'm thinking about that too for the Sparks. Like you said, Chanae's out, Christy's out. This team's going to get so much more experience in gelling during this wobble. And then next season, bam, bam, bam. And like Pepper mentioned with the Aces, Liz being out, when everyone's stepping up, that's another team that we need to watch.
So, the Las Vegas Aces.
Asia Wilson has been
she's
on fire.
Beast.
Yeah.
Beast mode. I mean,
I think you could throw her in for MVP as well.
I like that. I like that.
This throwdown.
So Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson, and Candace Parker.
Whoo!
For bubble MVP.
I mean,
but remember, West Coast.
Asia's got her team in second place, and she's killing it.
She's doing it,
Yeah, you're right. Such good basketball happening. It's beyond. It is beyond. Rising stars and beyond. But those Seattle Storm are not messing around.
We just had a 9-year-old on. I can't believe you just used the F word. I feel like this whole episode
I can bleep it.
There could be
I edit everything.
There could be the G edit or the Pepper only edit.
You know what? Stop at her interview if you don't want to hear no cuss words.
Warning.
Parental guidance. This is PG-13, baby. Thanks, Mom. I'll make sure to
Thanks, Mom.
Give a clean edit with the gushy.
I'm over here too, cussing out loud with the 9-year-old in the house.
That's true.
I got a bleep thing. I can put the bleep thing. We'll have two versions. Let's see what else speaking of rising suns,
Bubble Boys.
Kendall, the Bubble Boys. What?
My number 2 team.
Wow.
My number 2 team.
They are a true Disney Cinderella story. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Hey, that shirt.
Right? No, they are truly like one of those made for Disney TV teams.
Yeah.
Cool run-ins, one of those.
I love it. They were fun. They're fun to watch.
I mean, they came into the bubble 16 games under 500. So they were pretty much like, okay, we have to put them.
Hey, nothing to lose at this point, right?
And they almost made it.
Fun. Yeah.
Portland won, but there was 1 point between the Suns being in and Portland being in.
I mean, it's insane. I listened to, because, they were waiting to see what the outcome was going to be between Portland and the Nets, and that you saw the coach talk and to the Suns coach talk to them in the locker room and say, hey, you know what? We came in with a certain perception of what people thought of us, and we changed that. And we have made a name for ourselves. We got the respect that we wanted. even though, you know, if we don't make the playoffs, which was before the game had ended, they wanted people, he wanted his team to know that. And I think his team really, you know, took that in, and you're just seeing a culture coming out of this new team. And you know, Draymond got fined for tampering, saying, you know,
big mouth bass.
You know what? He's not even playing 1 minute and he's getting fined in the NBA. How?
Well,
that is
why is the big question, not how.
Control.
We know how.
You know
what? Why?
You know what I hate about that mentality though, of like, because what he said was basically like, oh, Devin Booker is too good for the Suns. He needs to go somewhere else. Like, I hate that people say that, because aren't you guys tired of seeing the same teams winning over and over and over again?
Yes.
Like, why? Oh, he just needs to leave and go somewhere else so he can actually win. Or they could build around him and they could build off of what they've already started and win. Like, I hate that mentality of, oh, the Suns are just never going to get there.
And the Suns have a decent franchise. It's not like...
Right.
Well, you know,
like, they're never going to get there if people keep leaving to go other places. Like,
well, you're talking, I mean, Draymond's coming from a place where they took members of another team. They brought KD in to win championships.
And Draymond will not, you know, remember, Warriors fan, Draymond will not survive outside of the Warriors. He was like champion adjacent.
Yeah.
We saw it this last season.
Absolutely.
He was not stepping up as a leader. So be quiet.
Right.
But it's like, it's other guys too. Like, and I understand like the whole like AD going to the Lakers thing, that he was there for however many years at the Pelicans and they just refused to give him any help. Like, I understand that, right? But but if you just keep taking the good players out of these places and putting them on teams that are supposedly supposed to win all the time, then like it gets boring.
It does. It has been.
You know, like
it's been boring.
It's just
it has been boring.
I hate that mentality of like, oh, you have to leave that team to go off and go to a team that's supposed to win. All teams are supposed to win.
And if he's going to go anywhere, Draymond, you better be careful, because he might be going for you. So,
I mean, DB at the Warriors. Oh,
let's just say, you know, your spot is not secure.
I mean, if he wants to come and give Dame a little help, that's all right.
Okay. Oh, all right.
But
stay on the West.
Stay in Phoenix. Build your team and build your legacy, Devin Booker.
I think that Devin Booker should go nowhere, and I agree with you, Kendall. I think that you saw how they had the during their game, they had the family of the Phoenix Suns starters, you know, announce their team. Like, that's like a culture. I think there's something that's so overlooked when you talk about the culture of the community that you're in as a team, and how you support the community and how that community supports you. And I think when you see, because like I think Dame is one of the few players who has not left Portland. I think he was drafted by Portland and he has been in Portland. And the culture around him and what he adds to the culture of Portland cannot be overlooked. And I think players like a Devin Booker who can do that. I mean, LeBron to some extent, because he did go back to Cleveland, you know, to win those championships. But I feel like that's something that's really important. It's not just about like, oh, go and move to get your rings, which you can do. I'm like, that's fine. But it doesn't
do whatever.
Yeah, do whatever. Do however you want, KD. Do however you want, Kyrie. Yeah. Do however you think is going to fit you and your mold to get you what you want. But on the flip side, when you have a player that you can build around, it's a shame they didn't build around AD. That would have been great. Now they got Zion. So, you know, hopefully they will take the tactic of, let's build around them. You're seeing what's happening with the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, they're in a playoff game, right? A play-in game right now. That is about rebuilding it around these players that, you know, they may not be the LeBrons or, you know, these superstars coming out, but damn, if you just invest, like how crazy OKC. You're looking at OKC. I didn't expect much. I mean, but they have
parking, like good parking, you know.
Yeah, right. That's right. They have great parking.
But that don't matter right now.
Concessions, go right from the mall parking lot to the mall to the game. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see also that Houston OKC matchup because it's literally like the teams they're the same teams.
Yeah.
They're like all played together, like the same team. So it'll be really interesting to see that. But yeah, this whole Devin needs to leave. And disagree.
Another tip for Devin, in addition to staying, stop dating Kendall Jenner. Come on, that's disgusting, bro.
What?
Like the whole
that's
and,
real.
She was dating Ben Simmons, and Devin dated Jordan Woods. It's a nasty and sexual. Let's remember here, those Kardashian Jenner women do nothing for NBA players. Let's all remember. Okay,
I can remember.
Where's Chris Humphries now?
Yeah.
Yes, and
he was married. Oh my God.
Harden hasn't gotten a ring. Let's remember Tristan Thompson.
Oh,
he's back.
Odom.
I know they're back. Odom went to like the psych ward.
Ranch.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah. Remember, fellas, those are vampire energy suckers over there. Okay.
Man.
Let's not don't dip into that.
Stay out of the Calabasas, everybody.
Stay out of the Calabasas.
The Calabasas. Stay out.
I know.
Stay out.
I
mean, man. I didn't know that was happening.
I
wasn't paying.
I don't either.
Like,
but then
adjacently, I saw adjacent like they were in the desert or some shit like that.
Oh, quarantining with each other. That means, cactus in the hole, whatever.
Okay, Kendall, I can't bleep that out on the YouTube. That little.
You gotta blur her whole screen.
Yeah, I have to blur her whole screen because I can't bleep that out of the
Pepper
podcast.
gets her own segment. Episode.
Bonus.
This is the episode
B+. Telling you, PG-13. Okay, so just moving quickly on, I just want to also talk about the NBA Bubble Awards because they're sports.
Oh.
Yeah, you cannot validate.
They just named the MVP.
Who?
What? Already?
Yes.
Breaking news. Is it Damian Lillard?
Yeah, boy.
Oh.
Damian Lillard, Bubble MVP. Woo, woo.
Dame Dalla.
Yes. Kendall, you have picked a winner.
I
might have to have
heart attack is what I've done.
I literally need you to pick some lotto numbers for me.
I mean,
I'm
gonna start sports betting here and just check in with you.
I know, right? I'm gonna have to show you my
put my over under here.
Okay,
so pressure.
They just announced breaking news that you'll get Wednesday is that Damian Lillard was just announced the MVP of the bubble. I know Devin Booker and TJ Warren were in the mix. TJ Warren, who people were calling the Linsanity of the bubble.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, that's not very nice, but oh well. It's true. So Dame Lillard, good. We love to see it. But yeah, so
that was crazy. Literally, as soon as you started talking about it, Chris Haynes tweeted, like it was like boom, boom.
Wow.
Yeah.
My timing was impeccable.
That was weird timing.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And now today we're gonna see. Like I said, we record on Saturdays. They're having the play-in game, so hopefully this MVP going to be getting that 8th spot. I know he was recently on Tea with A and Fee, which is the podcast created and hosted by Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier, and he said he said about Devin Booker, he can have the bubble MVP, but I need a playoff spot. So now
thinking big.
Looks like he got one. He needs to get the other one.
Does that mean he doesn't get the other one?
I don't think that he cannot. They just have to win the one. So Memphis has to win both, and Portland just has to win the one because they have the better record.
Yeah.
So, oh man, that game's coming on soon. So we're definitely going to be wrapping it. So with that said, we're going to take a quick break and come back with our final segment, Hoops Off. And we are back. Yes, it's time for Hoops Off, where we take 1 minute to take the hoops off and tell you about something that's been getting in our grail and really pissing us off. Well, whatever. It goes where it goes. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rant, but usually it ends up that way. So for our first Hoops Off, we're going to start with Karen. Karen, you have 1 minute. 3, 2, 1, go.
You know, this has been an age-long argument, and it's similar to like the electoral college argument, because not all states are created equal, and not all Eastern Western conferences are created equal. And as we can even see in this bubble, I mean, Magic, Nets making it as the top 8 seed in the East in comparison to who we have on the West. Like, I know the West Coast is the best coast, but come on, guys. Like, really, I think the NBA, Adam, you guys really need to look at this. Like, you know, it's never a competition. It's just like you see a bunch of like stragglers in there. It just doesn't feel great. You see a lot of great teams sitting out during playoffs. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, if we want money, you want eyeballs, you want people ingrained in the playoffs and the bubble, anything, you got to have the best of the best. Like, get rid of conferences. I mean, have them for fun, but when it comes to it, number one.
All right. You hit it. You hit it.
Hit it.
Yeah. Money.
You know, one of the things about the bubble is, you know, it would have been good just to be like no conference and just league.
Hottest of the hot.
Pop them, pop them, pop them.
Pop them, pop them.
Because, I mean, I paid for a league pass, and let me tell you, there's some teams I don't need to see. I want my money back.
A waste of space.
I'm like, can you just, like, you know, give me that money back for that game?
The Magic and the Suns.
Oh, yeah, that would be so good.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Because I want the Grizzlies in there, too. But, you know,
I know, and they got to.
I'm going to pick Damian over that just because I feel that I want to. I don't have to explain it.
Because I want to.
All right, Kendall, are you ready for your Hoops Off?
Sure.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so mine, I guess, is less of a rant and more of a cry. I don't know what to be more scared of. The fact that everything I cried about in November 2016 when this orange bozo was elected is actually coming true. Oof. 2, the fact that nobody that's in a position of power is doing anything about it. Or 3, that there are actual millions of people around the country that believe everything that this guy and his administration are saying. I really don't know what to be more scared of. And I think it's like a 5-alarm fire happening right now with everything going on with the Postal Service and the fact that he's just saying the stuff you're not supposed to say out loud, and he's just saying it out loud, and blatantly saying that he's fucking with our democracy. Yeah, I just have an issue and I'm scared and I don't know what to do.
You are too powerful, Kendall. You know what I mean? You called the bubble. You're calling this whole last 4 years. You need to keep your thoughts to yourself. Or you think positive thoughts. Stop. Like, too much power over there with your ESPN.
Power.
I feel like everybody had those same thoughts 4 years ago, though, right? I mean, I wasn't alone.
So it's a collective thought, okay? It's a collective thought. We need to get rid of those negative thoughts and just think
You're
positive.
right, though. You know what? You're right, though. You just don't know what to be scared, like what to be more scared of. It's all levels of scary, but
yeah.
Ugh.
And it's just one thing after another, and it's hard to keep up with. And that's like his whole spiel is like, I'm just gonna keep doing it until I get caught, and he's not getting caught because he just keeps doing shit. And it's like, what do we attack here first?
It's so much misdirection because the little shit that he throws out, like he just talked about birthism again with Kamala Harris, and you're like. Man. Yeah, he may not actually think that's true, but to your point, the bozos that agree with this major clown will get that stuck in their head.
Why are we questioning the white people? Because your people ain't from here. So why are we looking at their birth certificate?
Yeah, I mean, can I see the first lady's birth certificate? Is that something?
Oh, yeah.
Her citizenship.
It's very, it's like, it's only, it's very two-sided, two-faced. Who wants to time me? Karen, you want to time me, or Kendall, who has their phone?
Let's see.
You got it?
I got it ready.
Okay. Oh, you got it ready, Arnie? All right.
Okay.
All you.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, so mine is just about in website ads and paywalls. Okay, we do a lot of research for each of these shows, and I am telling you, I visit some of these websites, and the first thing is pop-up ads, pop-up ads, pop-up ads, pop-up ads. I have not gotten to the content. I've been on the page. You sent me the link. You tweeted the link, you shared the link, and I go to the link and it takes me 5 minutes to actually find the thing that you want me to read because I have a side rail, a top rail, a left rail, an up rail, a pop up. And then when I close it out, it like goes, I can't get to the content. Please stop making your website filled with these pop-ups and the paywall. I get it. We should all be paying for good journalism. I will give you my $1.99 an article or the $5.99 a year off of Amazon Prime to get the subscription. I'm fine with that. But let me just tell you, do not share a link that is behind a paywall. Don't do it.
Nice. Ladies,
I know.
Nice hoops off.
Look, I know I want to pay for good journalism, but don't share it on Twitter if I can't read it.
Or warn people. Paywall.
Yeah. Do you know how many links I go to and it's like
hashtag
for the I have no problem, but just don't, when you share something, it's to share. It is not to get a $1.99.
Yeah. Like give me some highlights in the thread, but then say if you want to
give me the password
in depth.
Yeah.
Share your credentials and I will go on
Share
there.
your password, like your Netflix login. Come on.
You know what? Copy and paste it into a PDF and like put that on your tweet. Sorry.
Screenshot that password.
Right? Thank you. Okay, that's it. We had a giant day. I'm so happy that we were able to have Pepper from Dish with Pepper.
Yes.
Amazing interview with her at the top. Kept talking about some rising stars. Apparently I'm going to have to go and make a G version of this episode and bleep out all our cuss words. So look out for that parental control. Yeah, you know, it was a great show. And I think we are, you know, always happy to have someone that's inspirational, young, old, whatevs come onto the scene and come onto our podcast. With that, everybody, thank you so much for listening to the Hoops Talk. Make sure you subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever you like to listen to your podcast. Follow us and DM us on our social handles on Twitter and Instagram at The Hoops Talking. We're also on YouTube, The Hoops Talk Podcast, where you can see our lovely faces, our backgrounds, and our guests' lovely faces. We're also on TikTok until that gets banned at The Hoops Talk Podcast. And remember the Good News Radio podcast app. It's free right now. Download it. It's going to subscription, so you want to jump on that before it goes to a full price, and you get the premiere of our show on Wednesday nights at 6:30 p.m. as well as our YouTube and what have you. So that's it. It's a lot. Please, let's do this.
It's
so Karen, how do you want to keep it, baby?
Baby, we want to keep it
sweaty and petty. We out.